Most people walk past these foods every week and never think twice, but some of them beat meat on protein. Yes, really. Not powders, not fake lab food, real plants. Some are cheap, some grow easily, some are probably in your kitchen already, and one of them is so wild, most people still don't believe it. So, if you think protein means steak, chicken, or eggs, this video may change your mind. A lot of people want more protein, but they feel stuck. Meat feels expensive. Protein snacks feel processed. And most healthy foods feel boring. So people keep eating the same few things. Chicken, eggs, protein bars, maybe a shake, and that's it. But here's the problem. Most people were never shown the other options. The better options. The cheaper ones. The easier ones. The ones that do more than just add protein. Because these foods also bring fiber, flavor, minerals, and they actually fit real life. That's the part most people miss. Here's the truth. Protein is not owned by meat. Never was. A lot of plant foods are doing serious work, quietly, without hype, without big marketing, without a bodybuilder holding the package. And once you start using them, your meals get easier, cheaper, and way more interesting. So let's count down 20 plants that can hold their own, and in some cases, completely surprise you. Let's start with peas. Yes, peas. The food most kids try to avoid. The little green things on the plate. Most people never think protein when they see peas, but maybe they should. Peas are easy, cheap, familiar, and they quietly do a lot. People have grown peas for generations. They fed families long before modern protein trends. That matters, because foods that last this long usually earn it. Peas are simple to use. Add them to rice, soups, pasta, fried rice, mashed potatoes, even wraps. They're easy to keep frozen too, so they're always there when you need help. And here's what makes peas special. They don't look impressive, but they show up every single time. Think of them as the quiet kid in class, not flashy, but secretly smarter than everybody expected. Now, let's talk lentils. Lentils are one of those foods people ignore until they really need them. Then suddenly, they become a lifesaver. They're cheap, fast, filling, and they make a meal feel real. People have been eating lentils forever, across villages, farms, and family kitchens. Why? Because they work. That's it. They work. You can make lentil soup, lentil curry, lentil stew, lentil patties, even lentil pasta sauces. And red lentils cook fast. That's huge. Because most people don't need complicated food. They need food that fits Tuesday night. Lentils do that. And they don't just sit there. They actually satisfy you. That's the difference. You eat lentils and feel like you ate something. Not just a snack. A real meal. Think of lentils as your budget bodyguard. Cheap to keep around, but always ready to protect the meal. Hemp seeds confuse people, mostly because of the name. And that's unfortunate. Because these tiny seeds are incredibly useful. They're soft, nutty, easy to sprinkle, easy to hide in meals, and easy to underestimate. People have used hemp for a very long time. Not just for one purpose. For many. Food, fiber, daily life. That alone tells you something. You don't keep a plant around for centuries by accident. The best part? Hemp seeds ask for almost nothing. Sprinkle them on oatmeal, yogurt, salads, smoothies, toast, even soup. Done. No soaking, no cooking, no drama. This is where it gets interesting. Some of the best foods are not obvious. They don't come in flashy packages. They don't scream superfood. They just quietly upgrade everything. Think of hemp seeds as nutritional confetti. Tiny, light, and way more powerful than they look. This one sounds strange. I know. Nutritional yeast does not sound delicious. It sounds like something from a science shelf. But then you try it, and suddenly it clicks. It has this savory, cheesy flavor. And once people get it, they really get it. It's the kind of ingredient that sneaks into your routine. Popcorn, pasta, roasted vegetables, soups, sauces, scrambled tofu, even sandwiches. People love foods that feel comforting, and this one does, without much effort. That's why it's so useful. A little can change the whole vibe. Most people skip it because the name is awful. That's the only reason. The name lost the battle before the food got a chance. But here's the part most people don't know. Some pantry foods become powerful because they're easy, not because they're exciting. Think of nutritional yeast as the friend with a bad nickname. Once you know them, you wonder why everyone overlooked them. Black beans are a classic. And sometimes classics get ignored, not because they stopped being good, because they became too normal. That happens a lot with great food. People stop respecting what always worked. Black beans have fed people for generations, across cultures, across budgets, across all kinds of kitchens. And they still hold up. That says a lot. They're hearty, affordable, reliable, and they make meals feel complete. Tacos, burrito bowls, soups, chili, rice bowls, salads, mash them into burgers, or eat them simply with rice. They can do almost anything. And black beans stick with you. That matters. A lot of foods look healthy, then leave you hungry an hour later. Black beans don't play that game. They stay with you. Think of black beans as the bricklayer. Not flashy, but they build the whole house. A lot of people rolled their eyes at quinoa because it got trendy. But trends don't always lie. Sometimes something becomes popular because it's actually useful. Quinoa is one of those foods. It cooks fairly fast. It works in bowls, salads, breakfast, even warm side dishes. And it has that complete meal feeling. Not heavy, but still satisfying. People in the Andes valued quinoa for generations. That alone should make you pause. Traditional foods usually survive because they deliver something real. And quinoa does. It's practical. That's its biggest strength. Meal prep it once. Use it for days. Add vegetables, beans, seeds, tofu, whatever you have. That's where it shines. It plays well with everything. Think of quinoa as the clean white t-shirt. Simple, flexible, and somehow always useful. Edamame is one of the easiest wins. You barely have to do anything. Steam it, salt it, eat it. That's already enough. But people often treat it like restaurant food. Something you only get as an appetizer. That's a mistake. Edamame is one of those foods you should keep nearby. In the freezer. Ready anytime. It feels casual. But it's not weak. That's the surprise. A bowl of edamame feels like a snack. But it hits like real fuel. And it's fun to eat too. That matters more than people admit. Foods you enjoy are foods you repeat. And repeated foods shape your life. Toss edamame into bowls. Stir fries. Salads. Noodle dishes. Or just eat it from the bowl. Have you ever tried it at home? If not, this is a great place to start. Think of edamame as the chill friend. Easygoing on the outside. Stronger than expected underneath. Tempeh gets judged quickly. Usually by people who never cooked it right. It looks different. It feels firm. And some people don't know what to do with it. But once you learn one or two methods, everything changes. Tempeh has deep roots in traditional cooking. People have trusted it for a long time. That should already tell you something. It isn't new. It's just new to some people. The magic of tempeh is texture. It feels substantial. It browns well. It absorbs flavor beautifully. And it can carry a whole plate. Slice it. Marinate it. Pan fry it. Bake it. Crumble it into sauces. Put it in wraps. Bowls. Sandwiches. Whatever you want. This is where it gets interesting. A lot of people say plant foods feel unsatisfying. Tempeh proves that's not always true. Think of tempeh as the leather jacket of plant foods. A little bold, a little serious, and cooler once you understand it. Pumpkin seeds are small. That's why people underestimate them. Small foods often get treated like garnish, decoration, an afterthought. But pumpkin seeds deserve more respect. They're easy to carry, easy to store, easy to add anywhere, and they make weak meals stronger. Sprinkle them on oatmeal, salads, soup, rice bowls, yogurt, or eat them by the handful. That simplicity matters. People used seeds like these for a long time, not because they were trendy, because they were valuable. And you can feel that value fast. A tiny handful can do a lot. That's what makes them fun. They don't take over the meal. They upgrade it quietly. Would you use this at home? Honestly, most people should. Because this is one of the easiest upgrades here. Think of pumpkin seeds as tiny batteries. Small size, big charge. Amaranth is not famous in every kitchen, but maybe it should be. It has history. Real history. And food with history usually has a reason. People kept amaranth alive through hard times. That says something powerful. They didn't protect it for no reason. Amaranth can be cooked like porridge, used in bowls, mixed into recipes, even popped. That gives it range. And range matters, because the more ways you can use something, the more likely you'll keep using it. Amaranth also feels old in a good way. Like it came from a deeper food memory, before everything became boxed and branded. That's part of its charm. It feels rooted, steady, worth knowing. But here's the part most people don't know. A lot of forgotten foods are forgotten for bad reasons, not because they lacked value. Think of amaranth as an old song returning, still strong, still beautiful, still worth hearing again. Chia seeds look tiny and harmless. Then you use them and realize they're doing a lot. They swell, they thicken, they fill, they stay with you. That's why so many people keep them around. Chia pudding is the obvious example, but that's only one use. You can add chia to smoothies, oats, yogurt, jam, baking, even drinks. And because they absorb liquid, they have this satisfying staying power. That's a big deal. Some foods hit fast and disappear fast. Chia feels steadier, more grounded. People have valued chia for a very long time, especially when long days needed reliable fuel. That part still matters today. Busy workdays, long mornings, low energy afternoons. Chia helps smooth those out. Think of chia as a tiny sponge with ambition. Small body, big job. Now we get into stranger territory. Spirulina is one of those foods people hear about and immediately doubt because it sounds too weird. Algae? Really? Yes, really. And that's exactly why it's so interesting. Spirulina doesn't win because it looks familiar. It wins because it's dense. A small amount goes a long way. That changes the game. You're not building a giant plate with it. You're adding concentrated help. That's different. Mix it into smoothies, juices, energy bites. Maybe start small. Most people should, because the flavor is bold. Let's be honest. This one is not trying to taste like dessert, but that's not the point. Some foods are powerful because they're concentrated, not because they're comforting, and spirulina absolutely fits that category. Think of spirulina as the dark green overachiever, not the easiest personality, but impossible to ignore. Chickpeas may be the most flexible food here. Seriously, they can be creamy, crunchy, soft, crispy, savory, even surprisingly light. That range is rare. Hummus alone made chickpeas famous. But that's just the beginning. Roast them, blend them, mash them, simmer them, turn them into curry, falafel, snacks, salads, bowls, spreads, even baking ingredients. That's not normal versatility. That's elite versatility. And people have used chickpeas across many food traditions. That matters, because when many cultures keep choosing the same food, you should pay attention. Chickpeas also feel friendly. They're not intimidating. They don't require a personality shift. You can slide them right into everyday life. And that's what makes them powerful. Think of chickpeas as the actor who can play any role, and somehow nail all of them. Here's where things get really interesting, because most people never think about fungi this way. They think mushrooms, pizza topping, soup ingredient, maybe side dish. But this category can do way more. Much more. And when people first hear that, they usually pause. Because it challenges old ideas fast. That's good. Good food should challenge lazy thinking sometimes. Certain fungi-based foods feel meaty, substantial, satisfying, and very practical. They're also interesting for another reason. They don't play by the same rules. They grow differently. They fit modern life differently. And they make you rethink what protein even looks like. That's the real shift. Not just adding a new food. Changing your definition. Have you ever tried a fungi-based protein? A lot of people have. They just didn't realize what they were eating. Think of fungi as the category hiding in plain sight. Quiet, unusual, and full of surprises. Peanuts are almost too common. That's their problem. When something becomes ordinary, people stop seeing it clearly. Peanuts suffer from that, because nutritionally, they do a lot. And peanut butter? That might be one of the easiest protein foods ever. Open jar, spread, eat. That's hard to beat. People often treat peanuts like snack food only, but they can be much more than that. Peanut sauces, peanut noodles, toast, smoothies, energy bites, snack bowls, and simple handfuls between meals. They're familiar, comforting, cheap, and extremely useful. That combo matters, because most people don't need perfect food. They need repeatable food. Food they'll actually keep eating. Peanuts win there. Every single time. Think of peanuts as the old hoodie. Not flashy, not trendy, but you keep reaching for it anyway. Tofu gets mocked by people who expect it to act like meat. That's the wrong mindset. Tofu is not failing at meat. It's succeeding at being tofu. And once you understand that, it gets much better. Tofu has been loved for a long time. That didn't happen by accident. People kept using it because it's flexible, really flexible. Firm tofu can crisp beautifully. Soft tofu can blend into sauces and smoothies. You can bake it, pan fry it, air fry it, crumble it, grill it, marinate it, toss it into soups, put it in wraps. Breakfast scrambles too. This is where tofu wins. It becomes what your meal needs. Foods do that so easily. So if you've only had bland tofu once, that's not tofu's fault. That was just a bad introduction. Think of tofu as a blank notebook. What you put into it changes everything. Now for one many people still don't know. Sacha inchi. This one feels like a discovery. And that alone makes it exciting. It comes from the Amazon region. And it has been valued there for years. That matters. Because local food wisdom often sees value first, long before global trends arrive. Sacha inchi is usually enjoyed as seeds or oil. And the seeds have this interesting nutty feel. They're memorable. A little different. Which can be refreshing. Sometimes the best foods wake you up because they're unfamiliar. They make you curious again. And curiosity changes habits. If a food feels intriguing, you're more likely to explore it. That's powerful, especially if you're bored with your current routine. This may be one of those foods you try once, then keep thinking about. Think of Sacha inchi as the traveler's story. Unexpected, far away, and more valuable than you first assumed. If you want something that feels substantial, this is the one. Seitan has presence. It chews well, slices well, browns well, and it can feel surprisingly close to a hearty main dish. That's why people remember it. It doesn't feel delicate. It feels bold. People have used it in traditional cooking for centuries, especially when they wanted something filling and satisfying. That idea still works now. Put it in sandwiches, stir fries, tacos, rice bowls, wraps, or serve it as the centerpiece. It can handle that role. But here's the part most people don't know. A lot of people want more protein, but really they want more satisfaction. They want meals that feel complete. Seitan understands that assignment. Of course, it's not for everyone, but for the right person, it can be a game changer. Think of Seitan as the plant food linebacker. Solid, strong, and hard to ignore. Moringa feels almost unfair, because it doesn't just do one thing well. It seems to do many things well. That's why people call it special. In many places, moringa has been valued for generations, not as a trend, as a practical daily plant. That should tell you a lot. The leaves can be used fresh, or dried, or powdered. That makes moringa flexible, and flexible foods are easier to keep using. Add it to soups, smoothies, warm dishes, simple mixes. It's one of those foods that feels bigger than expected, especially once you learn where it fits. This is where it gets interesting. Some of the best foods are ignored globally, only because they grow far from the spotlight, not because they lack value. Moringa is a perfect example. Think of moringa as the talented person nobody noticed, not because they weren't brilliant, because the room looked elsewhere. And now the last one, chlorella. This is the kind of food that makes people lean in, because it feels futuristic, almost unreal. A green algae, as a serious food? Yes. And once you understand it, it becomes unforgettable. Like spirulina, chlorella is concentrated, small serving, big impact. That's what makes it special. It's not about building a giant meal around it. It's about adding something powerful in a small space. That idea matters more than ever now, because many people want efficiency, simple help, a smarter routine. Chlorella fits that mindset. Powder or tablets are the common forms. Smoothies are an easy entry point. And if you want a strong ending to this list, this is it. Because chlorella represents a bigger idea. That food can be simple and still incredibly impressive. Think of chlorella as the final boss. Small, green, and much stronger than it looks. Before we wrap up, let me ask you something. Which one surprised you most? Was it peas, lentils, tempeh, seitan, or the algae options? And be honest, how many of these do you already use? Because most people know maybe 3, maybe 4, then ignore the rest. But here's the exciting part. You don't need all 20. You really don't. Sometimes one new food changes everything. One better snack. One smarter pantry item. One easy swap at lunch. One new dinner base. That's how habits change. Not all at once. One good choice, repeated often. So if you've ever felt stuck with food, this is your reminder. You're probably not out of options. You just haven't met enough of them yet. So what happens if you actually use these? First, meals get easier. You stop relying on the same foods. That alone feels freeing. Second, your grocery bill can calm down. because many of these foods are practical and they last. Third, your meals become more interesting, more texture, more variety, more color, more flexibility. And that matters because boring food doesn't survive busy life. Interesting food does. Also, you start thinking differently. You stop asking, where's the meat? And start asking what works best here. That is a huge shift because now you have options, real options, affordable options, smart options. And once you see protein differently, you start building meals with more confidence. That's the real transformation, not just eating plants, thinking bigger. So now I want to hear from you. Which of these would you actually try first? And which one still sounds unbelievable? Drop it in the comments. I really want to know. And if you already use one of these often, share your favorite way to eat it. That could help someone else too. If you enjoyed this breakdown, stick around. There's a lot more hidden in everyday food. And sometimes the most powerful foods are the ones people overlook the most. So if that sounds like your kind of content, you know what to do. And I'll see you in the next one.